Hi guys, in today's video let's talk about power blackouts, okay? Because this is something that affects us so often, and yet personally I feel like I'm never ready for them, especially in Africa. And sometimes they can be like 2 days long, even 3 days long, and we seem to always be caught unawares. So that's what we want to talk about, because if there's anything we can do to prepare ourselves in advance, I think it is only wise, okay? So I'm just going to share a few tips here and there that I've been learning that are really important. As I clean the walls of my home, because it seems to be like an ongoing theme. I cleaned them a bit when we were expecting guests, but I only cleaned the main area, which was the living room. So now I'm cleaning the ones on the stairway, and then now we just go on with getting ready for this 3-day blackout, which I know will happen. This is Africa, you guys. It happens. Even in the West, it happens. So welcome. Guys, let's talk about this hotspot here just outside our room. All right? Now, you may wonder what this has to do with blackouts. Hey. Well, of course, we all want our house to be clean. I mean, what is this now? Okay, this is a hotspot that always accumulates stuff. And if I go 2-3 days without cleaning it up, it looks like this. All right, now so the other day I got some craving in the middle of the night. I was hungry. I don't know what was going on. I was just hungry. Okay, so now let me show you what happened. So I've woken up in the middle of the night. Of course, it's dark, and I'm not switching on the light because people are sleeping. So I was like, I need to go downstairs. Do you see this thing here? Do you see this? Where my small toe was going, you guys. Imagine you've just woken up in the middle of the night. Then I'm coming to pass here. Of course, I didn't have shoes because I've just gotten out of bed. This thing here almost took out my small toe. So, as far as blackouts go, please remove anything that might be a hazard to you when the time comes and you have darkness and what. You can imagine, as in you've just gotten out of bed and then you have this searing, sharp pain. Hey, anyway. So that's another reason why I need to clean up this mess. So let me do it quickly. Then I move on with the day. So one thing that is really important to have is clothes that are ironed. Yes, you guys, I know we've had this conversation about ironed clothes ever so often. A lot of people don't like ironing, but let me tell you guys, it's good to have a few pieces. If not all your clothes should be ironed, then a few pieces that you could wear in case there's a blackout. Because you don't want to be the person who shows up in the office with clothes that look like they've been chewed by a cow, like my mother used to say. Okay, then everybody will know that you don't have power. So either that or buy some clothes that can be worn without being ironed. That's the other option. Okay, but I think it's so important to have some ironed clothes. That's just me. So when you think about power blackout, the first thing normally that comes to mind is lighting. I mean, who wants to sit in darkness? So, I mean, it's good to have candles, and most of us will think, oh, now, I have candles, I'm set. But I think it's important to think beyond candles, especially if you have kids, the safety because of the fire aspect, and also two, something that will last a bit long and something that you can move about with. And that's why it's important to have a torch. I don't know how many of us have torches, because ever since the smartphones came with their torches, we sort of threw away all torches. But you can have a torch, especially one that is chargeable, so that you can always have something that is mobile with you. Also, if you can get an electric light, it is so important. And we like to keep ours fully charged because of that day. And especially if you can get 1 or 2 emergency lights, that would be really nice. So we are homeschoolers, in case you're new here, and some of our kids are in class, practicing their writing and having fun. Others are already into the serious books. This has nothing to do with power. I'm just happy about my kids and homeschooling. let's talk about baking, because I've always wanted to know how to bake without power, you guys, because I mean, it's baking and you want to be able to bake come rain, come sunshine, come hell or high water, come power or no power. So I did some research to find out how to bake without power, and this was the easiest method I could find, which is where you take a large cooking pot, fill it with some sand. The sand prevents your pot from burning, or some salt, and then put some stones to hold your baking tin. In this case, we're using a sufuria, and then a cover. So this is essentially a makeshift oven, which is what I was just experimenting and trying out. So as far as the cake itself goes, I'm making a vanilla chocolate chip cake. Very easy. Just put your eggs and your sugar in your bowl, and then you whisk them together. I am trying to not use my electric mixer, in the spirit of having no power. And you guys, it is not easy, and my muscles and my biceps got a good workout. Then after that, you will just put in your flour, your oil, your baking powder, your vanilla essence, and finally your chocolate chips, and then you just put it in your already greased and floured baking tin. As I said, we're using a sufuria, and then put it in your, or you want to make sure you have preheated your oven, okay, which is just turn on the fire, medium to low heat, so that by the time you're done mixing everything, there's a nice warmth going. Now, one thing that I did wrong is that once I put in the batter, I did not make sure that the cover was airtight, so the heat was escaping, and that's why my cake sort of flopped a bit on top, because it was not getting enough heat on top. So eventually I realized that, and I put this jerry can of oil on top to sort of seal in the hot air. So make sure you're using a sufuria that is airtight. I'm going to put the recipe in the description box, but the main thing is, whichever recipe that you're using, is just to know how to make your makeshift oven. And the cake baked in about 50 minutes. It was ready, and it was yummy, and it was delicious, and we loved it. To be up to date with your laundry as much as possible. I know sometimes I'm not up to date, because maybe I'll have washed all my clothes, but then I haven't ironed them or folded them. But anyway, the more up to date you can be with the laundry, the better, so that when there's no power, you have clean clothes. Now, we like to make freezer meals for a month. In case you're new here, welcome. And a lot of guys ask me, so how do you keep your food fresh in case there's a blackout, you're going to lose all that food? Well, the thing is, when your food is frozen stiff in the freezer, it can actually last that way for 72 hours. So all you just need to make sure is don't keep opening and closing your freezer unnecessarily. Now, water. Okay, we now live in a place where we don't get city council water, so we do use borehole water. Now, the thing I never thought is that water and power can be connected, but here's the thing, and I learned this the hard way, you guys. When we buy water, we pump it into an underground tank, and then it comes into an underground tank. So when we need to use it, we have to pump it up to the upstairs tank, and then it comes down through the pipes and the taps and the toilets and the what. So there's this day we did not have power, you guys. That's when I realized, oops, I actually need power to be able to pump water up to the tanks. So I realized it is important to have water that is accessible in case there is no power. Very, very important if you're in a situation like ours. So yeah, what I try to do is I try to make sure that our storage tanks are full of water, and this one is filtered water that we can cook with, and that we can also shower with, and that we can do all that jazz with. So yeah, I try to just set aside like a week so that every day I do one run, I go get water, I come fill it in. The next day I go do one more run, like that, until the tanks are full and completely full. Yes, full and completely full. So that in case there's a blackout, we have water to leave. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you have city council water, just disregard this point. It's not for you. So it's time to clean and organize our living room. And because it's muddy, I just realized someone streaked mud onto our new carpet that we bought with Agatha. Yes, it's still new to me, you guys. So I took out my carpet cleaner just to clean out the small speck of mud. If you're interested in the carpet and sofa cleaner, of course, I will link it for you in a pinned comment and down below. I cannot get enough of this cucumber salad, you guys. I love to make it in advance and just stash it in the fridge, and it lasts for a week. Yes, I know this has nothing to do with power. A girl just loves her salad, okay? Guys, I want to show you a few more things that I think are very, very important to have in your house, just in case you have this very extended blackout. For starters, of course, matchboxes, especially if if your cooker is the one that uses electricity to come on, there's nothing worse than, you have gas, but there's no power to switch on your cooker, so you can't warm your food. So it's very important to have a box of matches or one of these fancy schmancy lighters. Yeah, also good for lighting candles and stuff. All right. And now, another thing, of course, is a phone that is not a smartphone, okay? I know most people threw this away. We've had one, and this one is, we use it for emergencies in case, because these phones have, when you charge them, they can even last for a week, okay? So it is very important to have one and have it fully charged. Just keep checking on it time and time again, so that should there be like an extended blackout and your smartphone dies because you are using it to check Instagram and to watch Susie's Homestead on YouTube, hello, even when you don't have power, then it won't last as long, okay? But it's very important to have this one, so that in case now you need to call people, you need to call your family, you need to do whatever, check in work, then it's very important to have this one. Now ours, we've had it, we've not checked on it honestly since we moved. So we've just realized that the battery is swollen. The battery has a problem, okay? And then of course, please make sure you have a SIM card that can fit into this phone. We have a SIM card because the SIM cards for here are small, okay? So you need to have another SIM card. We have one, but it's in an old tablet. We need to put it here. So we're going to have to find a new battery for ours. Make sure it also has a charger. But of course, if there's a blackout, of course, you won't charge it. So always make sure it's fully charged. You can check on it maybe once a month. And then here's the other thing that is very important. This phone, even though it is fully charged, will do you no good if you don't have the contacts of the people you need to call when the time comes, should the time come. So it is so very important to make sure that you have your important contacts in a notebook, in a journal, in your control journal if you're using the Flylady system. Very important to have it written down. For instance, I know my mom's phone number of head, I know my dad's phone number of head, but I don't know my office line of head, okay? There are many, they keep changing, all right? So it's very important to have it written down somewhere, if not saved in the phone, so that should anything happen and your primary phone is off, then you're able to call those people and tell them, oh, by the way, you cannot reach me on this number because we do not have power, all right? Like for me, I need to be available on phone 24/7, I guess, for work, except on my days off. So basically, it's very important for me to be reachable. And also, if there's an emergency, maybe a child is sick and all that, you must be able to have a way to communicate to your people, all right, guys? So let me show you where I write my important contacts. So if you have any kind of a notebook like this is the one I got from Organized Solutions. I showed that in my other video. Most of them will have a contact list, okay? So what you need to do is just need to come here, go to your smartphone and write down your important contacts, all right? I'm sure you know how to write an important contact, you guys. So I'm just writing office, telephone number 0741, blah, 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 and all that, and all that. Write down your next one. You can still write down your mom's, number 1, number 2, number 3, and all that. Your brother, all right, ambulance, and so on and so forth. So that should anything happen, then you can use this phone to call these guys to come and bail you out, all right? The landlord, whoever, you know what I mean, yeah. And speaking of contacts, here's another tip that I think it's so important to have in case you have that extended blackout, is to be able to contact the very people who've cut off your power, okay? Which is, of course, Kenya Power. So Google will be your friend, but of course you will not be waiting to use Google on that day that you don't have power, okay? So here is one they're saying, please call our contact center hotline numbers, which is 97771 or 0703 070707. So that, sometimes it could be just your house that has an issue. All right, or this has happened to us. Power comes back for our neighbors, but us guys we don't get. So it is very important to be able to reach them and let them know what's happening. And also, please write down your account number in case you've saved it on your phone, and obviously now your phone is dead and buried. Okay, so write it down somewhere, the pay bill number that you used to pay and all that jazz, so that should anything happen, then you'll be able to do it. And also, by the way, something I've just thought about is how to pay. You know, if you don't have the smartphone, you don't have internet, so sometimes you need to do the star hash some numbers so that you can use your old phone to be able to pay for your power. And keep this information available. Don't lock it away in your room, and then maybe something happens and you're not there, your help is there, you need her to top up your tokens or to pay for power or whatever, and she can't access the information. So put it in a place that can be accessible, or a place where you can tell her, go check here and there, and she's going to be able to do that. So very, very important to have this information down. Another thing that you guys might be a no-brainer, but we'll just say it is, it's important to have some cash at hand. Okay, I know in this day and age of not having cash, M-Pesa and all that, we might not have any cash. But now, can you imagine if the power goes out, your phone is dead, you need to pay for something, you don't have money because all your money is on M-Pesa. Very important to have a little bit of cash just in case. And yeah, also things like know how to call to get an Uber without having to use the app. There are those star whatever. Even me, I don't know, I need to find out. So those are some of the key things that we need to know and to write them down, so that when that day comes, you're not found unawares. No, you're found unawares. You know what I mean, guys? Yeah. It's dinner time. Yes, so I did not make this dinner technically. Well, technically I made the stew when we were doing the batch cooking, and then our help just preheated it. But she made the chapos and the greens, and yeah, so that's what I love about batch cooking, is that even when there's no power, I already know that I have food to feed my peoples, and my peoples like to eat like their mother. If there's no power, you need to find a way to keep your children occupied. I don't know if your kids are like mine, but they just like to climb walls if they are not getting something done. So we, of course, have tried to make sure that they're not dependent on screens, because we all know that this is not good for their brain development, it's not good for their social development and all that. So yeah, even when there is power during the week, we just don't watch TV. So we try to just get other interesting activities like coloring, playing with puzzles, going for walks, singing, and all other things. So just find a way to keep your kids occupied if there's an extended blackout. That's all I'm saying, man. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope you have found something that has been useful and helpful to you. In case there's a blackout, let me know which one of these points you've been doing or which one is new to you. And remember to check out that batch cooking video to see how we have made a month's worth of meals in a day. And I'll see you over there. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.